Well, the whole material world is comprised of three modes of material nature: goodness, passion, and ignorance. So the modes of nature are that, that combination of influences that affect us completely. And they have, a psychological influence on us. So it's stated, foods in the mode of goodness increase the duration of life, purify one's existence, and give strength, health, happiness, and satisfaction. So people live longer. It purifies one's existence. And that means the mind, that means the consciousness, etc. And gives strength, health, happiness, and satisfaction. So strength, physical strength, health, you want to be healthy, then mode of goodness food will very much promote that. See? And happiness, you're going to feel different inside. Isn't happiness all about your mental space a lot? I mean, all these mood swings that some people have.
Exactly.
That's not external, that's mental.
Yeah.
Like the highs and the lows, the bipolar people and all that. Well, it gives happiness and satisfaction.
Hey guys, hope you are all doing well. This is Ruben and the Breaking Trail podcast. Today's episode you will hear about food and how food is very, very intimately connected to mental health and the modes of nature, which are the psychological influences of this material world that we're all under. We just have to choose which one, which direction or which influence we will more be under than the other by our lifestyle. And one of the main activities by which we choose is what we eat. So this discussion, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about how we need proper information to make conscious choices in life, how you will feel different inside if you eat mode of goodness food, and how this process requires us to have a change of heart, to soften our heart and not just change things mentally. This is episode number 43. Many people don't realize how important or what role and how important food is for your spiritual well-being. And a lot of people are interested in spiritual life and interested in growing and interested in developing themselves. But as we just spoke the other day as well, the focus of what we eat, there has been not so much focus on that for different reasons, perhaps also that it's not very profitable to focus on that, since people don't want to change. It's a tough one to change, but regardless, it is important. So I just wanted us to perhaps look a little bit about that, look into that today.
Yeah, and also, people that are, let's say, seriously following some philosophy or faith-based teachings. You can call it whatever you want, Christians or Muslims or Buddhists, whatever, anybody. That kind of idea, if they're following a philosophy that doesn't really have the full information, and they're doing what they're doing, thinking it's perfectly in line with their teaching, which it may be in line with their teaching,
I see.
They're still limited or misdirected because they don't have the full vision or information. They're not properly educated and guided.
Yeah, I see.
So, just the average Joe, he doesn't even think about that, and he doesn't care because, spiritual life doesn't have anything to do with his life.
Yeah.
So he just, and if he's concerned about what to eat, it's usually from a health perspective. That's number one. Or it's from, some environmental perspective. And if he's even more advanced, it might be ethical. He just doesn't feel right about, eating animals and so on. But very rare does it go past that, if it goes that far.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
But that's also maybe due to a lack of knowledge, and that's perhaps what we can give people today. Because I was there as well. I didn't get that point. I always knew that it would be beneficial for the environment, because I'm an environmental engineer, and that this is a whole topic that we can discuss, and I think we'll do that in the future on some episode, the environmental impacts of eating meat, and basically but that was my pathway into it. I think I got convinced on that level, and then I just couldn't I knew in the back of my mind that it would be better for the environment if I followed that diet for a long time.
Right.
Yeah.
So say you did follow it, which you did, I think.
Yeah.
And so
Finally.
that puts you in a different
Ultimately.
category of influence, or under the influence of a different mode of material nature,
Right.
which automatically has an uplifting result in your life.
Right.
So if you don't eat meat, then you're in the mode of goodness. And so, therefore, that's going to have a different result than if you do eat meat, which is in the mode of ignorance. And so that's going to cover you, and that clouds you, and that not only clouds your ability to understand, but your desire to even want to know about any of this stuff.
Maybe you could just describe those modes of nature briefly. We've discussed it before for anyone who's interested in a longer version, but maybe we can have a short version so that we understand where we come from. And
Well, the whole material world is comprised of three modes of material nature: goodness, passion, and ignorance. It's just kind of like if you said water is made up of H2O, two hydrogens and one oxygen. Yeah, it's water, but if you go deeper, it's hydrogen and oxygen combined.
Right.
So the modes of nature are that, that combination of influences that affect us completely. And they have, a psychological influence on us. And so the mode of goodness is obviously the best, and it makes it so we're, psychologically interested in mode of goodness things like nature, good healthy food, more clean lifestyle, a better physical body, and a calmer mental body, and more compassion, all that, good qualities. And the mode of passion, and we're going to read a little bit about it from Bhagavad-gita too, but anyway, the mode of passion is a very agitating mode. People in the mode of passion, they just always want to do something. They get bored very easily. They're always achievers, trying to go somewhere, to achieve something. They're very drawn toward and basically often consumed by sex desire. And so they're very agitated people, And even if the trajectory they're on, is somewhat laudable, they're just agitated, and they're never satisfied. And no matter how much they accomplish or achieve or whatever, it's not enough. And they want more. Basically all high-level athletes, they have to be in the mode of passion or they won't be successful. The Olympics is going on right now, and all those people, and I don't know any of them personally, but just by design, they're in the mode of passion. They want to win. They want to win the gold medal and, be the best and whatever. And they train and they train. There's no end to what they'll sacrifice to try to reach that goal. But if they do reach it, they get the gold medal, let's say, right after that, there's a big letdown. Like, okay, I got it, but I'm still not satisfied. And then they're thinking for the next Olympics or the next competition or the how they could improve on what they achieve now. And in other words, it's obvious, whether it's in business or athletics or whatever.
Well, and that seems to describe the world's condition quite well. I mean,
well, it's very frustrating too.
Yeah.
I mean, we could go on and on with this subject. I think we've already discovered it a lot.
Yeah.
But there's on record many successful people, let's say again in athletics, that they reached the top. I mean, they achieved the goal, and a couple of days later, after all the ceremony's over and whatever, they commit suicide because it was such a high and then a resultant low that, they just couldn't handle it. It's so much depression among these. We just talked about, the other day, what's her name? The skier,
Lindsey.
Lindsey Vonn.
Lindsey Vonn, yeah.
Yeah, Lindsey Vonn won everything. I mean, she broke all records and so on and so on. But, now due to age and injury, I think injury more than age, she can't compete. She said, but the whole time through her whole career, she struggled with big depression. And you would think, well, why? You won this, you won that. And of course, she had a lot of injuries, and that's depressing because you're at your top of your game and then you blow out your knee, and now you're on the couch, and the competition which you were, planning to win passes you by, and you're watching it on YouTube. And anyway, but the point is, it's just such a roller coaster ride, motor passion.
Up and down, and down.
And relationships in the motor passion are so volatile. I mean, they're so close and then they're just so far away, and etc.
And that backside of depression and anxiety is like, it's kind of like bubbling under the surface. Again, I don't want to go too much into detail. We could discuss on and on, but that's, I can really relate to that. All the suicidal problems that we have in the back, and the depressions and the anxiety. Yeah. Anyway, so that's.
And then you've got the third mode, which is mode of ignorance. And that's a real dark mode. I mean, that's like being in the clouds. You're really covered, and it's so prone to intoxication, for instance, which you're attracted to mode of ignorance activities and lifestyles. So intoxication's in the mode of ignorance. So you'll find people in the mode of ignorance are attracted to alcohol and drugs and so on. And, eating of meat is in the mode of ignorance. People are attracted to that. Old foods, decaying foods, stale foods. That's what attracts them. They like that. And the fresh salads and the freshly prepared, wonderful dishes that you can make in the mode of goodness aren't attractive to them. It's just not what they want. They don't have a taste for that, either a physical taste or a mental taste. And so, it's decided sleep is one of the most attractive things for people in the mode of ignorance. They like to sleep a lot, just kind of void out, so we're maybe, 6, 7, 8 hours of sleep a day, depending on your body. They may, think, I need 10 hours, I need 12 hours, and their greatest recreation is going to sleep. And they're attracted to drugs that do that, like heroin is famous for just making it so you nod out, and they like that, and so on and so on. So those are the three modes. And food is actually in one of those three categories, different foods in different categories.
But and food is, you could say, the main factor deciding which mode of nature you will come under?
No. It's from the beginning. It's, it even described it as almost from the womb. We bring it in from a past life kind of thing. And so you look at kids, and some kids are mellow and quiet, and the next kid is just all over the place, just running and screaming, and and then the other one is just kind of like dull, and it's just kind of in a whole
it's true.
Other world. So that's not because they ate a lot of meat or they ate good food. I mean, that can have a part to play, but it's just their psychological condition, but you can change all that. You can go from the modes of ignorance to the mode of passion, from the mode of passion to the mode of goodness. And one of the main factors that lifts you up is what you eat.
I see.
Back to food.
Yeah.
Who you associate with, what you eat, and if you have knowledge, you can actually understand it would be to my benefit to go to the mode of goodness.
Yeah.
And so you kind of do what you need to do, and there's information about that.
Yeah.
And of course, it's not so cut and dried. There's all kind of mixtures of these three. Maybe you're basically in the mode of goodness, but you've got a lot of passion in there too. Or you're basically in the mode of ignorance, but you also, are strongly under the influence of passion, especially from time to time. And vice, it's all kinds of different combinations. So it's not just like boom, boom, boom. So you can have knowledge and work with this.
And with knowledge, you'll have the motivation to work with this and make the change that is required. Now, and in terms of food, is, like you said, a main factor.
Yeah, it's a big player. Because we eat three times a day.
Yeah.
And for many people, this is the highlight of their day. They just live from one meal to the next, like they trudge along through their work or whatever, but they're always ready to, dinner's soon, or, wake up in the morning. One of the, motivating factors is, let's make some coffee and, have whatever they eat in the morning, whatever it is,
Yeah, that's true.
So anyway, food is a big player. Yes, for sure it is.
And maybe you can read from Bhagavad-gita, that part that we were going to just get into a little bit.
We've already clarified Bhagavad-gita is the main scripture we study in the Bhakti Yoga process. And so there's a lot of information about every aspect of life. And in the 17th chapter, there's a lot of information concerning food. This is text 8 through 10. And the speaker of Bhagavad-gita is the Supreme Lord himself. So it's not like some guy just sat down and wrote this. Like, I think... No, this is actually the guideline for humanity. So it's stated, foods in the mode of goodness increase the duration of life, purify one's existence, and give strength, health, happiness, and satisfaction. So that's the result of eating food in the mode of goodness. What does it do? Increases the duration of life. So people live longer if they eat food in the mode of goodness. And you can bring in karma and all kinds of things into this discussion, but we won't. But, karma is the activity, and the result of that activity is your karmic result. So if you eat foods in the mode of goodness, which is your karmic activity, then the karmic result will be increased duration of life. It purifies one's existence. And that means the mind, that means the consciousness, etc. And gives strength, health, happiness, and satisfaction. So strength, physical strength, health, you want to be healthy, then mode of goodness food will very much promote that. See? And happiness, you're going to feel different inside. Isn't happiness all about your mental space a lot? I mean, all these mood swings that some people have.
Exactly.
You know, that's not external. That's mental.
Yeah.
You know, like the highs and the lows, the
Exactly.
bipolar people and all that. Well, it gives happiness and satisfaction. And not only physical satisfaction. I mean, sometimes when you eat a good meal, you kind of walk away saying, man, I'm really satisfied. That was so good. You know? But it's more than that, because that digestion takes place and then you're hungry again,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
So,
But if you're not satisfied in the mind, even the best meal doesn't really satisfy you. It might satisfy you physically and even a little bit mentally, but you're still not satisfied, you know, just like we were saying. So people in the mode of passion are never satisfied.
mm-hmm.
So anyway, this is declaration of Bhagavad-gita. Duration of life increases, one's existence is purified, and there is increased strength, health, happiness, and satisfaction. So that's all positive. You can't say, well, that's not good.
that should be a good motivation if we can have faith, a little bit faith in that.
Yeah, you know. And like I say, this is not just some guy saying this. This is the Supreme Lord himself, you know, declaring this in Bhagavad-gita.
And it's, you know, I just wanted to say, like, it's backed by science. If you even logically go out and look at the biggest animals, look at a cow, you know, he doesn't get his muscles from eating meat. He gets his muscles from eating vegetables and grass. And
right. And the even more extreme example is an elephant.
Right. Huge.
I mean, you know, a cow is weak compared to an elephant. and all it eats is vegetables, you know.
Yeah.
It's a herbivore. So, you know, all that is in vegetarian food stuff. That strength, that vitality, you know, and you don't see these animals, people in animal bodies, they're not sick all the time. You know, they're not running around, you know, coughing and sneezing. I mean, yeah, there's some diseases that go through certain species, but in general, they're not.
Yeah.
You know? Okay, let's continue. Such nourishing foods are sweet, juicy, fattening, and palatable. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of how those foods are. Sweet, juicy, fattening, and palatable. Yeah. So all that is good too.
Fattening. Nice.
Well, what it means is, you know, the body does require fat.
Well, exactly.
You know, and some people that go on a fat-free diet, you know, they have very adverse results after a period of time. It doesn't happen overnight. But after a certain period of time, they're just not getting what the body needs to be at optimum health. And they start having various, you know, adverse effects, you know, different diseases and on, you know. I could go into a thing about that, but we don't, because all of that will take lots of time. Now, foods that are too bitter, too sour, salty, pungent, dry, and hot are liked by people in the modes of passion. So they like extreme taste. Food in the mode of goodness is pretty subtle taste. You know, it's like eat an apple, for instance. That's just an example. I mean, there's no extreme taste in an apple, you know, but it's a good taste. It's a very, very nice experience, you know. But a lot of people don't eat fruit because, you know, it's nothing there. It doesn't satisfy me. And, you know, it's what I agree. It's hard to find good fruit anymore.
Yeah.
That's another deterrent.
Juicy, sweet.
Yeah, juicy and
fruits,
sweet.
It's hard to.
You know, they grow food now commercially more to look good than anything else.
Yeah.
It looks fantastic and it tastes like cardboard. But
Yeah.
that's another whole subject. That's advanced modern society. But as it was intended by the Supreme Lord when he created all of these wonderful things to keep us healthy, fruit was very, very delicious. And I remember as a kid, the fruit was way better than it is now. And most of us living on the farms had fruit trees growing on the farm. The apple tree, maybe one, maybe more. The peach tree or trees, and the pears and persimmons, and, the cherries, and etc. And it was so good.
Yeah.
And if you bought something in the market, it was usually from some local farmer that brought it to the market. It didn't come from China, or it didn't come from, thousands and thousands of miles away, and
Ripened,
green, and
exactly, it ripened in the ship on the way to,
yeah, and it ripened because of the introduction of some gas or something that made it
artificial.
Ripe. Yeah. So anyway, foods that are too bitter, very pungent, too sour, too salty, pungent, dry, and hot are liked by people in the mode of passion. They're attracted to that. That's what they like. So if they have to eat mode of goodness food, it's boring. Or where's the ketchup? Where's the the sauce? Where's the stuff I can put on here to make it taste like something?
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, that's how the mode of passion works. It's all about sensual stimulation.
More.
Yeah, the senses in the mode of passion are very, very active. And they're always looking for pleasure. So the more extreme the sensation, then the more attractive. Thus, like we just read, too sour, too bitter, blah, on and on.
Yeah.
Okay, so such foods cause pain, distress, and disease. See, this is not good for the body. It causes pain, distress, and disease. And if you look at people who have this kind of diet, you'll find that they're always taking some pain medication. They have whatever the pains are, headaches or this thing, and, they're distressed inside because what goes in has to be dealt with. It can cause great distress to the body to deal with this food that shouldn't be there. And disease, it's also known by, observation and science that people that eat the mode of goodness diets have a lot less disease than people who don't.
Yeah.
That's just how it works. Yeah. Healthy lifestyle actually means increased health. So that's about the mode of passion food. And foods cooked more than 3 hours before eaten, which is tasteless, stale, putrid, decomposed, and unclean, is food liked by people in the mode of ignorance. So yeah, there you go. Old foods, decomposing foods, stale foods, unclean foods, and some food is actually declared in Scripture to be unclean. And according to what Scripture you might read, some foods that are actually truly unclean are declared okay. They have all these foods, and it's usually referring to meat. Well, this category of meat is okay, but this is unclean. But according to the Vedas, all meat is unclean. It is in a mode of ignorance. It should not be consumed. You see.
But there is some, just came to my mind that it's kind of better for you to eat fish than cow meat, I guess. If you are,
yeah, it is physically and mentally and karmically. I mean, cow is the most destructive of all.
the most
Destructive
right.
to health, to everything, to the mind, to spiritual growth. I mean, we don't make the laws, and the law of karma says, cows are sacred animal, and that if you, abuse them and kill them and eat them, then the karma for that is, in our way of understanding, off the chart. It is the heaviest of all the karma. So, yeah, but if you don't know these things, I mean, in the modern world today, what is the seen as the best food? The highest level, the highest grade steak.
Yeah.
Oh, I got money. Let's go have a steak.
And
big juicy steak.
And meat from the, I don't know what it's called, the calves, like calf meat. Is that what it's called?
Veal.
Veal. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. All that is absolutely karmically devastating, and it's mostly ignorance. Mm.
Yeah.
But I mean, who knows about this and who cares about this? Not that many people.
Mm-hmm.
Just they don't, it doesn't even have anything to do with them. I'm going to eat what I want to eat, and their tongues are, what they are. They're trained to enjoy, let's say a steak, and you can present all the arguments, and they just say, well, I like it, and I'm going to, die a happy guy.
And I'm going to find reasons for which to, I'm going to find my arguments by which I can keep doing this that will give me like the feeling that I'm doing the right thing, or it's okay, or it's not so bad, or it's.
But the guy who's had, quadruple bypass, and the doctor's telling him, if you don't quit eating meat, you're going to be right back in here again, and you're probably not going to survive. They do it anyway.
Yeah.
Because they're too attached. I mean, they've got every reason not to do it medically. What caused your heart attack is, your diet. You must change this diet. Don't eat any red meat. They still do.
Yeah.
So, on some levels, you can't even talk to these people.
No, but it is possible to break that attachment. I mean,
it depends on what you want. How addicted you are.
Yeah.
I mean, the obesity and all the things which have proven to be, the root cause of diabetes and, cardiovascular diseases and et cetera, not even including just feeling bad, and looking bad and, having a hard time even getting around. And people, they're too addicted. They can't not do it.
That's true.
So it's such a strong influence, and society promotes it.
Because I just reflected on that people, isn't it interesting how people are so into all this new super diets and changing this and that, but when we speak about these things and supplying some deeper spiritual information, it's I guess the problem is that you're trying to change something. You're following the super diet, supposed to be really good for you, but you're still under the influence of a certain mode of nature. You're still under the influence of, let's say, the mode of passion, and it's not gonna change if you only change, the way that you're eating.
And a lot of these super diets are basically lacking knowledge too.
Yeah, well, exactly. It's
like
not the.
In the Vedas, we have our Vedic medical system, a system of health. I mean, this is Vedic system. This is not, discovered in a laboratory. This is handed down since time immemorable. But there's 3 different body types. I mean, we've talked about that already before too. And so what diet works for one person can be the worst diet for another person.
Yeah.
And if you look at the author of a diet, if you know, kind of a little bit about Ayurveda, you can see, well, that guy is obviously in the mode of passion.
Yeah.
So if you look at what he's promoting as the best diet, it's a diet that works for people in the mode of passion, you see, a pitta person, But if you take that same diet and apply it to a vata person, then it'll destroy that guy's health.
Mm.
And so, it's so lacking in information.
Mm.
This is what happens. It's just lacking in complete understanding. But if you follow the Vedas, I mean, mode of goodness food is mode of goodness food. Now, if you want to step up your understanding a little bit and know, okay, I'm basically Vata constitution, so therefore I have to adjust that mode of goodness category a little bit here, a little bit there to suit my Vata constitution, or Pitta, or Kapha, or whatever, but still keep it in the category of mode of goodness food.
Yeah, I see. So that's the main stepping point to get into, and that will purify you. That, unlike any, most of the suggested diets, super diets, will, if they are not based in vegetarian, no meat, fish, egg diet.
Yeah. I mean, why is it that the Vedas, one of their regulative principles is no meat, no fish, no eggs? As far as diet goes. You just mentioned it and made me think of it.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're in the mode of ignorance, And if you eat those foods, that's going to put you in the mode of ignorance. And that's not where you need to be. Mm-hmm. So there's a method to the madness, so to speak. In other words, this is not just haphazard. Not some do-gooder who's just thinking, oh, well, we should be nice and gentle and kind. And no, this is based on eternal science, I'm saying, not just, what some person discovered in the laboratory sometime, somewhere, And that's why the Vedic system, if understood and followed, will always have the best result. And if you look at that, it's going to also have the best result, not only for the body and the mind, but for, other living entities. You don't kill them, the cows and all those, more evolved beings. You don't kill them. See? So that's good for them. You don't have this animal food industry, that is, the most environmentally destructive industry. Mm-hmm. And so it's good for the planet. Mm-hmm. And, it's good for everyone, and it softens your heart. I mean, it's obvious that certain lifestyle is going to have an effect on your heart, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, your heart's going to be softer or harder depending on what you do. Mm-hmm. And so, if you've got a hard heart, you don't have any feeling or compassion for other living entities, it's very easy to kill them.
That's true.
Whether they're in human bodies or whatever, animal bodies of various types. See? But if your heart is softer, then it's going to be harder for you to do that. It's just an internal, I can't do that, And if somehow you do it, you feel really bad about that.
So you kind of have to, so what you're saying is you kind of have to choose to harden your heart to be able to eat meat.
Oh, yeah. But the way it's so, done today, it's just a nice little package. nicely wrapped up in a store, and you just go. It's almost like it's not even connected with the source.
Yeah.
It's not from an animal. This is just a nice little piece of sirloin, and you just take it home and just to take it out and cook it up, and you don't go beyond that. Just the taste, and it's not like, oh well, this was a cow that had feelings and was treated badly and was raised simply to make it so I can have this piece of its body tonight. And you don't think like that, because if you do, it just messes up the whole thing.
Which is just so sad that society has made it that way. You said something about that before, like society is just promoting this. I mean, because I really understand people in that sense. Like I was also there, and I understand it's hard, and it's, you're not reminded, like you say, of the origin of this, so you might not feel that it's a conscious choice. But it's just, well, it's just a package of, I didn't think about it. You don't.
Yeah. And there's various documentaries. One is called Earthlings. And this is just an extreme look at the animal food industry and the slaughterhouses and the crying of the animals and the squealing and the pain and the suffering. And, the average person can't even look at it.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I tried to watch, couldn't get through it. No way. I just couldn't even, I didn't want to do it. I couldn't do it. It was too horrible. But that same person who can't watch this can buy that nice little packaged sirloin and have no problem. So that was never a very popular documentary. It wasn't on Netflix. And they relegated it to the fanatics that, think like that or whatever. So, if people had to go out like in the old days and, kill the animal and skin it and do all the things that's required and then chop it up and do all that, at least they'd know what they were doing. At least they'd have the understanding where this comes from.
Exactly. Yeah.
And a lot of people, they couldn't do that.
Yeah.
They just couldn't do it.
This just reminds me of because we just made a song. We're gonna speak about this probably this weekend, but that this Bible quote that love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. So that just made me think, like, yeah.
So that's, if you take it on back to the source, that's the missing link, is love.
Exactly.
Like you say, we'll talk about that on Saturday. But, because if you love, other living entities, you can't do those things. You can't exploit them. You can't, do the cruel things that are necessary to produce the food that your tongue has become addicted to. Can't do it. I mean, yeah.
And it's not, again, you said something that just made me think about, it's not just thinking, oh, let's be kind, or let's just love everyone, or sit down, but it's actually a process that you can follow to develop that care and love for others. It's not just some mentally thinking about it differently,
Yeah, we can get into that on the next one.
Yeah.
That's the point. That's a good point that we have to make clear. It's just not a mental adjustment.
No.
Oh, today I'm going to love everybody. That's not how it works. But anyway, food is so important. you know. And if it wasn't important, why would it be included in Bhagavad-gita? If it had nothing to do with life, why would it? And this is not the only place. You know, it's several places in Bhagavad-gita where this is referred to.
And
You know.
and Bhagavad-gita is really like because the Vedic knowledge is written down in so many volumes of books, and Bhagavad-gita is just everything condensed down to very, very few verses, and in those verses it includes this. So that means that
this is the essence. This is what you need to know.
Right. Yeah.
And it's so wonderful that we can, you know, condense all that. We don't do it, but it's been condensed to make it available to us, just everyday people. Because if you had to wade through, as you say, the volumes and you couldn't do it in a lifetime, really. You know, I mean, it's too much, and it's, you know, it's really talking a lot about things that, you know, we don't really need to know to make the best of our life, you know, and so on. So it's condensed version, and that's one of the amazing things about Bhagavad-gita. It's so much in such a little amount of written words.
Yeah, like one text, like you were reading from Bhagavad-gita now, it can give you so much.
It can change your life.
Yeah.
One text can change your life. You know, if we allow it to. If we allow it to. But we have to allow any of this to take place. The best advice that falls on deaf ears doesn't have the result, you know.
Yeah.
But again, lifestyle, all these things add up, you know. And again, food is one of the main things. There's a whole lot involved with food. And, you know, a person can change gradually, like becoming a vegetarian. You know, it can be step by step. I was talking to a young guy actually, where was that? I can't remember. It was a few summers ago, and it was in a garage, someplace, you know, like that, like a garage, you know, a mechanic guy.
Oh.
And he said, me and my friends, you know, we now, because somehow we got talking about vegetarian diets or whatever. He said, yeah, me and my friends now have meatless Mondays.
Oh.
Where every Monday they don't eat meat, you know. And he said, it's really cool. We like it. And this was, you know, just some 20-something-year-old guy, me and my friends. So obviously they got together and discussed it and said, yeah, let's do this every Monday. Let's have meatless Monday, you know. And so you can do it like that. And maybe, okay, let's have meatless Monday and Friday. You know, just kind of expand on that, and pretty soon you got a meatless week.
Yeah, because it's, and I can really, you know, stand behind that it's, you just really got to get into the taste, and once you develop the taste for that, it grows on you. You feel like you don't need the meat or the unhealthy things. We don't need to reject them or be all focused on them or they're so bad. Just implement some of these small things, meatless Monday, you know, and then, you know, you don't know where the journey ends. You just have to take the first step. You won't go anywhere by just looking at the big mountain and see like, oh, it's too big, I can't do it, and I don't know if
No, that's exactly how it should be implemented for most people.
Yeah.
I mean, some people can just jump in. Okay, that's it. But that's not common, you know. And so as you do these things, your taste changes and your vision changes, and you look at what used to be so attractive and you go, I don't want that. I don't want that at all.
Yeah. Mm.
You know, many people, that are vegetarians now. I mean, I'd say the majority. They used to eat McDonald's. They used to go to McDonald's. It might have been a big part of their, enjoyment cycle. Oh, let's go to McDonald's, and have a Big Mac and whatever.
Did you? Yeah. I just need to. Did you see this article that they found they found human meat, like leftovers of human meat in McDonald's food?
No.
No. Okay. No. Just putting that out there. If anyone's interested, you can look it up. But yeah. So.
Yeah. Well, I'm not surprised, but yeah. Wow. But anyway, after you gradually make this evolution and you're a vegetarian, you just look at McDonald's, in a completely different way. Mainly all they have to offer is a good bathroom. Oh, there's a McDonald's. Let's go. But anyway.
But
you could say they have salads and they have, different vegetarian, friendly. Now they got a, vegetarian burger or something. But, then you kind of come to a point, but, that's a very, very small part of their profits. And I just don't want to support that whole industry. I just don't want to support it.
Yeah, that's true.
So, in other words, your vision changes, your whole outlook on things. And it just happens. It's not like you had to make it happen. It just happened.
Mm. Yeah, it's true. And
anyway, we better think about ending this. But
yeah. I just it's funny how wisdom can change things. Or knowing how things work. Just to maybe summarize it, we had a vegetarian Christmas party that we have here every year, and it was small this year due to COVID, so we just did it like a small little private gathering. And this girl who is usually, she's coming to our meditation classes a lot. She comes to my yoga classes, and she's meditating with us, and she's following this process to some degree, doing japa meditation every day. But for the first time, she brought her husband, and the husband has always been very, very supportive of her, and he was the one who actually bought her. I think they paid for most of the yoga course so that she could, start a change and get a positive change. But so it's really interesting to have him come, because I'd been speaking to her about the vegetarian diet and that it would be beneficial, but he's making most of the food. So he came and he got to be inspired. He got to taste it. He got to see it. And he was, first of all, completely amazed that, vegetarian food could be that good, and that we could, make this really filling, meatish kind of food, but vegetarian. And then we spoke about karma. We spoke about how you can actually help. If you really want to help your wife, you can do that by, you can try to implement more vegetarian food, and this will actually have a spiritual purifying effect on her, and you will help her a lot in that way. So I was trying to, sow some seed, and now it looks like gradually they're actually turning more and more vegetarian. So that's just a fun story of how,
great
knowledge can change things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you shall know the truth, and the truth will set you free.
Right.
So, if we have the truth, we should try to make it available to other people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And give them the freedom to, accept it or not.
Right. In a nice and inspiring way, and just, yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, we should end with a kirtan.
Yeah. So, we could have a little kirtan. Oranga Hari Bol, everybody knows. Goranga. Arevo. 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 Goranga Arevo. Goranga Arevo. Goranga Arevo. Goranga Goranga Arevo. Goranga Arevo. Oh, Goranga Arevo. Goranga Arevo. Goranga Haribo, Goranga Haribo, Haribo Goranga, Goranga Haribo. Haribo. Goranga Haribo. Haribo. Goranga Haribo. Haribo. Goranga. Goranga Haribo. Haribo. Goranga. Goranga Haribo. Haribo. Goranga. Goranga Haribo. Haribo. Goranga. Goranga Haribo. Haribo. Goranga Haribo. Haribo. Haribo.
Oh, Haribol.
Yeah, kirtan, that can change a lot in your life, I can tell you that. That's food for the soul. Yeah, so we've talked about food for the body, and also that affects the mind, but transcendental sound is food for the soul. So we'll talk about that some more at some point.
Yeah. Thank you, Valakya. Very inspiring. Hope.
Thank you, everybody that may be watching.
Yeah, I hope you'd like to make some change and start making a small change, and you never know where it's going to end up. So start
breaking trail one step at a time.
Yes.
One step at a time.
Thank you, Valakya.
All right, Ruben, I got to get out of here, so thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. And Slava, and great.
Yep, we always thank Slava. He's always fixing things. Yeah, without that, we wouldn't be here. Okay, so anyway, we got another one coming up soon, so
See you all
care.
Very soon. Thank you, Valakya.
Yeah. Namaste, Haribo.
Haribol. So upon request, I always mention that we have a link tree you can go to. And I was asked, what's a link tree? I didn't understand. So I didn't know that either before. But you can go to our link tree. That is a simplified version of a website where you can access all the links. So that, for example, if you want to listen to the podcast on Spotify or on another platform, it's easy to do it from there. If you want to watch the podcast, if you want to go to the website, if you want to contribute by making a monthly mini donation to us or anything else, contact us if you want to get email updates. All of that is available on our link tree. So that's linkter.ee/breaking trail. That should be available in each episode link, so you'll find it in the text. And please share with your friends, your family, those you care about, and always remember to stay true to yourself and dare to break trail.